Hold up, Voyager 1 now drifts beyond 15 billion miles, where interstellar space pulses warmer than every model predicted. And here's a powerful insight. Its radio whisper, weaker than a fridge bulb, still streams findings that are, honestly, rewriting astronomy. Humanity is steering a 1977 computer into the unknown, and it's winning. Quick check. Did you realize our whole solar system hides inside a supernova-carved local bubble acting as Earth's cosmic shield? Ever wondered what happens when we finally sail beyond it? New groundbreaking data. What if I told you that humanity just discovered we've been completely wrong about space for the past 50 years? Right now, as you're watching this, there's a tiny spacecraft called Voyager 1 floating 15 billion miles away from Earth, and it just sent back data that's making every space scientist on the planet question everything they thought they knew about the universe. We're talking about groundbreaking information that's literally rewriting textbooks as we speak. For decades, we assumed interstellar space was this quiet, predictable void between stars. You know, just empty darkness with the occasional cosmic dust particle floating around. But Voyager 1's latest transmissions are revealing something so unexpected that NASA scientists are having emergency meetings just to process what they're seeing. The magnetic field readings, the particle densities, the cosmic radiation patterns, none of it matches our models. It's like we sent an explorer to map a desert, and they came back telling us they found a bustling metropolis instead. What makes this even more incredible is that this data is coming from a machine that was launched back in 1977, that's 48 years ago, using technology that's now less powerful than the calculator on your phone. And yet, this ancient piece of human engineering is currently our only eyes and ears in true interstellar space, sending back revelations that are fundamentally changing our understanding of what lies beyond our solar system's protective bubble. Unexpected patterns, galactic rays, and cosmic pressure. What if everything we know about cosmic radiation is backwards? Voyager 1 just dropped a scientific bombshell that's got researchers scratching their heads and pulling all-nighters at observatories worldwide. The galactic cosmic rays hitting our probe aren't behaving like any computer model predicted. They're doing something so bizarre that physicists are literally calling it impossible based on our current understanding of space. Here's where it gets wild. The cosmic pressure out there in interstellar space is fluctuating in patterns that suggest there's some kind of massive invisible structure influencing everything around us. We thought space between stars was just a uniform soup of particles and radiation, but Voyager 1's instruments are detecting organized waves, almost like cosmic weather systems that span light-years across. The magnetic field measurements are showing twisted, braided patterns that look more like DNA than anything we expected to find in the void. Even more mind-blowing is that these unexpected radiation patterns seem to be connected to events happening billions of miles away. It's as if interstellar space has its own nervous system, with galactic rays carrying information across vast distances in ways we never imagined possible. The particle detectors are picking up rhythmic pulses that scientists are now calling cosmic heartbeats, and nobody can explain what's causing them. This isn't just academic curiosity anymore. These discoveries are forcing us to completely rethink how galaxies communicate with each other and what role our solar system actually plays in this cosmic network that we're only just beginning to understand. Digital CPR. NASA revives a dying spacecraft. You're about to witness the most incredible rescue mission in human history, and it happened 15 billion miles away. When Voyager 1's computer started glitching in November 2023, sending back nothing but gibberish data, NASA engineers faced an impossible challenge. How do you fix a spacecraft that's so far away, it takes 22.5 hours just for your commands to reach it? This wasn't just any malfunction. The probe's flight data subsystem had corrupted, essentially giving the 47-year-old explorer digital amnesia. The NASA team at Jet Propulsion Laboratory had to become cosmic surgeons, performing what they brilliantly called digital CPR on humanity's most distant ambassador. For months, they sent carefully crafted code patches across the solar system, each attempt taking nearly 2 full days to confirm whether it worked or failed. The tension was unbearable. One wrong command could permanently kill our only functioning probe in interstellar space. But here's the jaw-dropping part. They didn't just revive Voyager 1, they actually improved it. The engineering team managed to relocate critical software functions around the damaged memory sectors, essentially performing brain surgery on a patient they couldn't even see. When the spacecraft finally came back online in April 2024, it wasn't just alive. It was healthier than it had been in years. This digital resurrection proves that human ingenuity knows no bounds. We literally brought a dying machine back to life across a distance so vast that our entire solar system would look like a grain of sand from Voyager 1's perspective. A new kind of map, Voyager's role in galactic GPS. So, we just created the universe's first GPS system, and honestly, you'll never guess who's running it. Voyager 1 has, kind of by accident, become humanity's cosmic navigation beacon, creating the most detailed map of interstellar space that's ever existed. While GPS satellites orbit Earth at a measly 12,500 miles altitude, our little probe is charting territory 15 billion miles from home, basically becoming the galactic GPS that future space missions will rely on for centuries. What makes this absolutely incredible is that Voyager 1 is creating a three-dimensional map of space that no telescope could ever produce. Every mile it travels deeper into the interstellar medium, it's collecting data about magnetic field strengths, particle densities, and cosmic radiation levels that are building the most comprehensive database of what lies beyond our solar system. Think of it as drawing the first accurate map of an undiscovered continent, except this continent is bigger than anything humans have ever explored. The trajectory data and environmental readings Voyager 1 sends back aren't just scientific curiosities, they're actually becoming the navigation charts for future interstellar missions. NASA engineers are already using this information to plan routes for next-generation probes, calculating optimal paths through the cosmic landscape that Voyager 1 is currently mapping in real time. This accidental transformation from explorer to guide means that every future human venture into deep space will follow in Voyager 1's digital footsteps. We're not just exploring anymore, we're building the infrastructure for humanity's expansion into the galaxy, one data packet at a time. Interstellar weather, cloudlets, filaments, and the local bubble. There's actual weather happening in the supposedly empty space between stars, and it's nothing like anything on Earth. Voyager 1 has discovered that interstellar space isn't the peaceful void we imagined. It's a churning ocean of cosmic cloudlets, mysterious filaments, and invisible storms that span distances larger than our entire solar system. We're not just floating through empty darkness, we're sailing through what scientists are now calling interstellar weather that's more dynamic than Earth's most violent hurricanes. The most shocking revelation is that we've been living inside something called the local bubble this entire time without even knowing it. This cosmic cavity, created by ancient supernova explosions millions of years ago, is like a protective bubble around our solar system that's been shielding us from the harsher realities of galactic space. Voyager 1's instruments are now detecting the bubble's walls, massive shock waves and magnetic barriers that have been deflecting deadly cosmic radiation away from Earth for our entire existence. But here's where it gets truly mind-bending. These interstellar cloudlets aren't random. They're organized into vast filamentary structures that connect star systems across hundreds of light years, forming what appears to be a galactic highway system. The particle density measurements suggest these cosmic threads are carrying matter and energy between distant regions of our galaxy, creating an interconnected web that makes our local bubble just one room in a cosmic mansion we're only beginning to explore. We're not alone in empty space, we're inhabitants of a cosmic neighborhood we never knew existed. The legacy beyond the mission. What started as a 12-year mission has become humanity's most enduring legacy in the cosmos. When Voyager 1 launched on September 5, 1977, Jimmy Carter was president, Star Wars had just hit theaters, and the internet didn't even exist. Yet this incredible machine is still out there 48 years later, fundamentally changing our understanding of the universe and proving that human engineering can outlast entire generations of the people who built it. The golden record attached to Voyager 1 was supposed to be humanity's message to aliens, but it's become something far more profound, a time capsule of our species floating through interstellar space long after we're gone. While civilizations rise and fall on Earth, this little spacecraft continues its eternal journey, carrying the sounds of Bach, Chuck Berry, and children's laughter to the stars. It's not just exploring space anymore, it's become our ambassador to infinity. But here's what gives me chills. Voyager 1 will outlive our sun. Long after Earth becomes uninhabitable and our solar system dies, this probe will still be cruising through the galaxy, potentially for billions of years. The data it's collecting right now about interstellar conditions and cosmic radiation isn't just helping us understand space today, it's building a scientific foundation that will guide humanity's expansion into the galaxy for centuries to come. Voyager 1 has transcended its original mission to become something unprecedented in human history, our first truly permanent mark on the universe, still teaching us about cosmic mysteries nearly 5 decades after leaving home.
So what's really out there?
So we just discovered that the universe has been, well, lying to us about what's really hiding in the darkness between stars. Everything you've ever learned about interstellar space, that it's empty, cold, and lifeless, is, completely wrong. Voyager 1 has revealed a cosmic reality so strange that it's forcing scientists to throw out decades of assumptions and basically start from scratch. The space between stars isn't a void at all, it's teeming with invisible structures, mysterious energy sources, and phenomena that honestly make science fiction look boring by comparison. The most shocking discovery is that interstellar space is filled with what researchers are calling dark plasma electrically charged particles that create massive invisible rivers flowing between star systems. These cosmic currents are carrying matter and energy across light years in patterns that suggest the galaxy has its own circulatory system. Voyager 1's magnetic field detectors are picking up signals that indicate these plasma streams are actually connected to the formation of new stars, meaning the so-called empty space is actively creating the building blocks of future solar systems. But here's what's really mind-blowing. The temperature readings out there don't match any of our models. Instead of the predicted near absolute zero environment, Voyager 1 is detecting pockets of space that are like thousands of degrees warmer than they should be. These thermal anomalies suggest there are unknown energy sources heating up regions of interstellar space, and honestly, nobody can explain what's powering them. We thought we were exploring a cosmic desert, but Voyager 1 has shown us we're actually sailing through a hidden ocean of activity that's been invisible to Earth-based telescopes this entire time.
The technicals.
You're about to learn why talking to a spacecraft 15 billion miles away is harder than performing surgery blindfolded. The technical wizardry behind Voyager 1's operation is so mind-bogglingly complex that it makes rocket science look like elementary math. We're communicating with a machine using 1970s technology that has less computing power than a modern digital watch, yet it's sending back data that's revolutionizing our understanding of the cosmos across a distance so vast that radio signals take 22.5 hours to make the one-way trip. The Deep Space Network, NASA's array of massive radio dishes in California, Spain, and Australia, has to track Voyager 1 with pinpoint accuracy as it hurtles through space at 38,000 miles per hour. The signal strength reaching Earth is weaker than the power from a 20-watt refrigerator light bulb, yet engineers can still decode complex scientific data from this whisper-faint transmission. The radio receivers are so sensitive they can detect energy equivalent to a single snowflake hitting the ground. What's absolutely incredible is that Voyager 1 is still running on plutonium-238 power sources that generate less electricity than a car battery, yet this tiny amount of energy is powering instruments capable of detecting cosmic phenomena across interstellar distances. The flight computers have just 69 kilobytes of memory, that's less storage than a single smartphone photo, but they've been flawlessly executing complex scientific operations for nearly half a century, while traveling through the most hostile environment imaginable. This isn't just engineering, it's technological magic that proves human ingenuity can literally reach across the galaxy.
Digital CPR aftermath and data recovery.
What if I told you that bringing a dead spacecraft back to life actually made it stronger than before? The aftermath of Voyager 1's digital resurrection in April 2024 didn't just restore the probe to its former glory, it transformed it into something unprecedented. After months of careful data recovery, NASA engineers discovered that their emergency repairs had accidentally optimized the spacecraft's performance in ways they never imagined possible. The flight data subsystem that nearly killed the mission is now running more efficiently than it had in decades. The data recovery process revealed something extraordinary. Voyager 1 had been storing corrupted information in its backup systems for years without anyone knowing. When the JPL team performed their digital surgery, they didn't just fix the immediate problem. They uncovered a treasure trove of previously unreadable scientific data dating back to 2018. This recovered information is now providing scientists with a continuous 5-year timeline of interstellar conditions that fills crucial gaps in our understanding of cosmic weather patterns. But here's the most incredible part. The software patches NASA uploaded during the rescue have actually enhanced Voyager 1's ability to compress and transmit data. The probe is now sending back 30% more scientific information per transmission than before the crisis. The memory reorganization forced by the malfunction eliminated years of digital clutter, essentially giving the ancient computer a performance boost that's allowed it to operate with unprecedented efficiency. This digital comeback proves that sometimes the most devastating failures can lead to the greatest breakthroughs, turning near disaster into humanity's most successful deep space recovery operation.
The Cosmic Oasis Revelation.
We've been living in a cosmic paradise this entire time and had absolutely no idea. Voyager 1's most profound revelation isn't about the dangers lurking in interstellar space. It's about how incredibly lucky Earth has been for billions of years. The probe's journey beyond our solar system's protective bubble has revealed that we're not just floating in empty space, we're residing in what scientists are now calling a cosmic oasis, a rare pocket of the galaxy where conditions are so perfectly balanced that complex life can actually survive and thrive. The local bubble that surrounds us isn't just a random cosmic accident. Voyager 1's measurements show that this protective zone, created by ancient supernova explosions 10 to 20 million years ago, has been actively filtering out deadly galactic cosmic radiation that would have sterilized our planet countless times over. Without this invisible shield, Earth would be a frozen, irradiated rock floating through a universe hostile to any form of life we can imagine. But here's the truly staggering discovery. These cosmic oases are incredibly rare. The interstellar medium that Voyager 1 is now exploring represents the harsh reality of most galactic space, regions where radiation levels are thousands of times higher than what we experience inside our bubble. The probe's particle detectors are revealing just how extraordinary our little corner of the Milky Way really is. Voyager 1 didn't just show us what's out there, it showed us how precious and unique our cosmic neighborhood truly is, making us appreciate Earth's place in the universe like never before. So there you have it. Voyager 1 just proved that everything we thought we knew about space was completely wrong. While you're processing these mind-blowing revelations, make sure to hit that bell icon so you never miss our latest cosmic discoveries. Subscribe to Space Facts if you want to stay ahead of the universe's biggest secrets. And here's my challenge for you. Drop a comment below and tell me which Voyager 1 discovery shocked you the most. Was it the cosmic oasis revelation or those mysterious interstellar weather patterns? I read every single comment, so let's discuss what's really waiting for us out there in the cosmic unknown. An object from beyond our sun barreled through the inner solar system on October 19, 2017, moving so fast it couldn't possibly have come from here. Astronomers named it Oumuamua, messenger from afar, and soon realized its brightness was flipping tenfold every 8 hours, hinting at a shape unlike any natural body we've ever seen. Oumuamua initial detection. A cosmic intruder just crashed our solar system's private party, and it came from another star. On October 19, 2017, astronomer Robert Warwick was scanning telescope data at the University of Hawaii when he spotted something that shouldn't exist, a fast-moving object that didn't belong to our neighborhood. The Pan-STARRS 1 telescope had captured humanity's first glimpse of an interstellar visitor, something that had traveled for millions of years through the void between stars just to reach us. What made this discovery so extraordinary wasn't just the object itself but the incredible timing. Scientists estimate that only one interstellar object passes through our solar system every few years, and most are just too small or too fast to detect. Scientists quickly realized this wasn't space junk or a rogue asteroid from our own system. The trajectory was all wrong, the speed was incredible, and the direction it came from pointed to deep space. They named it Oumuamua, a Hawaiian word meaning scout or messenger from afar, because it truly was our first confirmed messenger from another star system. The discovery process itself was remarkable. Warwick initially thought it might be an error in the data until he tracked the object across multiple images. Within days of discovery, telescopes around the world were frantically tracking this mysterious visitor as it raced through our solar system at 26 kilometers per second. The Minor Planet Center in Cambridge immediately issued alerts to observatories worldwide, triggering an unprecedented international collaboration. The object was already past its closest approach to the sun and heading back into interstellar space, giving scientists only a brief window to study it before it disappeared forever into the cosmic dark. What they found would challenge everything we thought we knew about space rocks, comets, and the possibility that we might not be alone in the universe. This cosmic messenger was about to rewrite the textbooks and spark debates that continue today.
Classification challenges. Scientists love putting things in neat categories, but Oumuamua refused to play by the rules and turned astronomical classification into chaos. Initially classified as Comet C/2017 U1 on October 25, 2017, researchers expected to see the classic signs: a glowing tail, a fuzzy coma of gas and dust as ice sublimated near the sun. Comets are essentially dirty snowballs that light up beautifully as they approach our star, creating spectacular displays that have inspired humans for millennia. But Oumuamua was having none of it. No tail, no coma, no visible outgassing whatsoever, even though it had passed closer to the sun than Mercury's orbit. This was like expecting a snowball to melt in a furnace and finding it completely unchanged. Confused astronomers quickly reclassified it as Asteroid A/2017 U1, but that didn't feel right either. Traditional asteroids are rocky or metallic chunks left over from planetary formation, and they follow predictable patterns based on billions of years of observation. But Oumuamua's behavior was inconsistent with known asteroid properties. Its rotation rate, brightness variations, and movement patterns all suggested something fundamentally different. By November 2017, the International Astronomical Union faced an unprecedented problem and created an entirely new classification system just for Oumuamua, designating it 1I/2017 U1, the I standing for Interstellar. This was the first time in astronomical history that a completely new category had to be invented for a single object, highlighting just how unprepared science was for visitors from other star systems. The classification headache revealed something profound. Our understanding of cosmic objects was based entirely on things that originated in our solar system, shaped by our sun's gravity and radiation over 4.6 billion years. Oumuamua was playing by different rules written in another star system billions of years ago under completely different conditions. Its refusal to fit into existing categories was the first hint that this visitor was unlike anything we'd ever encountered. And scientists began to realize they weren't just looking at a space rock, they were examining an alien artifact from deep space. Trajectory analysis. Tracking Oumuamua's path through space was like following breadcrumbs back to another world, and the story it told was absolutely mind-blowing. Astronomers used precise measurements from observatories worldwide, including the Very Large Telescope in Chile and the Gemini Observatory in Hawaii, to reconstruct its journey with incredible accuracy. What they found was a cosmic wanderer that had been drifting through interstellar space for millions of years before accidentally stumbling into our solar system like a lost traveler finding civilization. Dr. Marco Micheli and his team at the European Space Agency traced its origin to the general direction of the constellation Lyra, specifically toward the star Vega, one of the brightest stars in our night sky. But here's the incredible part. Even if it came directly from Vega, it would have taken 600,000 years to make the journey, meaning this object began its voyage when early humans were just learning to control fire. The trajectory analysis revealed that Oumuamua wasn't bound to any particular star system. It was a true galactic wanderer that had been drifting through the local standard of rest, the average motion of stars in our galactic neighborhood. The object entered our solar system from above the plane where planets orbit, approaching at a steep 122-degree angle that no local object could achieve. This approach angle was like a cosmic signature proving its interstellar origin beyond any doubt. Its hyperbolic trajectory meant it was moving too fast to be captured by the sun's gravity. This was a true flyby mission with no possibility of return. The orbital calculations revealed Oumuamua came within 0.25 astronomical units of the sun on September 9, 2017, closer than Mercury's orbit, experiencing temperatures of over 300 degrees Celsius before being flung back toward interstellar space by gravitational slingshot effects. By the time astronomers discovered it in October, it was already racing away at 44 kilometers per second relative to the sun, fast enough to travel from Earth to the moon in just over 2 hours.
The trajectory analysis proved beyond doubt that this was our first confirmed visitor from another star system, a cosmic time capsule that had witnessed the birth and death of distant worlds, survived the radiation of interstellar space, and arrived at our doorstep carrying secrets from the galaxy beyond.
Photometry and shape analysis. So, photometry and shape analysis showed that Oumuamua was doing something no space rock should do. It was flashing like a cosmic lighthouse. Photometric observations from multiple telescopes revealed that the object's brightness varied by an extraordinary factor of 10 every 7.3 hours as it tumbled through space. This dramatic brightness change suggested something unprecedented, an object so elongated that it was unlike anything in our solar system. Dr. Karen Meach from the University of Hawaii led the analysis, calculating that Oumuamua was at least 10 times longer than it was wide. Imagine a cosmic cigar, or maybe a football spinning end over end. Some models even suggested it could be more extreme, possibly a 20-to-1 length-to-width ratio. But Dr. Sergei Moshchenko proposed an alternative. What if it wasn't cigar-shaped but pancake-shaped? A flat, disc-like object could also produce the same brightness variations. The tumbling period was unusual too. Most asteroids rotate much faster, but Oumuamua's leisurely spin suggested it might be held together by something other than typical rocky materials. The photometric data painted a picture of an object so bizarre that it challenged our understanding of how planetary formation works. No known process in our solar system creates objects with such extreme dimensions. This wasn't just unusual, it was honestly geometrically impossible, according to everything we knew about how gravity shapes space rocks. Oumuamua was, in a sense, rewriting the rules of cosmic architecture. Acceleration anomaly. And then, there was the acceleration anomaly. Oumuamua just broke physics, and scientists are still trying to figure out how. As telescopes tracked the object's movement away from the sun, something impossible happened. It started accelerating faster than gravity alone could explain. Dr. Marco Micheli's team at ESA first detected this non-gravitational acceleration in June 2018, analyzing data from the Hubble Space Telescope and ground-based observatories. The acceleration was tiny, only about 0.00005 meters per second squared, but it was real and measurable. For comparison, if you dropped a feather and it fell upward instead of down, that would be less surprising than what Oumuamua was doing. In our solar system, when objects accelerate away from the sun without gravitational explanation, it's usually because they're comets releasing gas and dust that creates a rocket-like thrust. But Oumuamua showed no signs of such outgassing. No tail, no coma, nothing visible that could explain the extra push. The acceleration was also pointing in exactly the right direction, directly away from the sun, which made it even more mysterious. Professional astronomers ran the calculations dozens of times, checked their instruments, and consulted with colleagues worldwide. The result was always the same. Oumuamua was being pushed by an invisible force. This single observation transformed a curious interstellar visitor into one of the most puzzling objects ever detected, launching 1,000 scientific theories and capturing the imagination of anyone who wondered if we might not be alone. Spitzer observations. NASA brought out the big guns to solve the Oumuamua mystery, and what they found made everything more confusing. The Spitzer Space Telescope, with its incredibly sensitive infrared detectors, was humanity's best hope for detecting any invisible outgassing that might explain the object's mysterious acceleration. Dr. David Trilling from Northern Arizona University led the observations in November 2017, pointing Spitzer's instruments at Oumuamua as it raced away from the inner solar system. Infrared telescopes can detect heat signatures from sublimating ice and microscopic dust particles that are completely invisible to optical telescopes. If Oumuamua was secretly behaving like a comet, Spitzer would catch it red-handed. The results were published in the Astronomical Journal in 2018, and they were as puzzling as they were definitive. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Spitzer's upper limits on dust and gas production were so strict that they ruled out traditional cometary activity by orders of magnitude. If Oumuamua was releasing material to create thrust, it was doing so at levels 10,000 times lower than typical comets. This wasn't just unusual, it was physically implausible. The Spitzer observations eliminated the most obvious explanation for the acceleration anomaly and forced scientists to consider more exotic possibilities. Either Oumuamua was made of materials that don't exist in our solar system,
or it was being pushed by forces that we don't understand, or, well, it wasn't natural at all.
Artificial origin hypothesis.
So here's the thing. Harvard astronomer Dr. Avi Loeb dropped a scientific bombshell that made headlines worldwide and honestly divided the astronomy community. Back in October 2018, Loeb and his postdoc Dr. Shmuel Bialy published a paper suggesting that Oumuamua might not be a natural object at all. It could actually be artificial technology created by an alien civilization. Their hypothesis, which was published in the astrophysical journal Letters, proposed that Oumuamua was a light sail, an ultra-thin sheet of material designed to be pushed by radiation pressure from stars. This idea would explain both its unusual shape and the mysterious acceleration, without needing any detectable outgassing. And, light sails are real technology that humans are developing for interstellar missions, so the physics behind it was actually sound. Loeb calculated that an object only millimeters thick, but hundreds of meters wide could behave exactly like Oumuamua, accelerating away from the sun as starlight pushed against its surface. The paper, as you might imagine, sparked fierce debate in the scientific community. Critics argued that invoking alien technology violated Occam's razor, the principle that simpler explanations are usually correct. But Loeb countered that the scientific method requires considering all possibilities, even the uncomfortable ones. His 2021 book, Extraterrestrial, further developed this hypothesis, arguing that scientists' reluctance to consider artificial origins was more about sociology than science. Whether he's right or wrong, Loeb's proposal really forced astronomers to think outside conventional boundaries, and consider that our first interstellar visitor might have been our first contact with alien engineering.
Dark comet theory.
So scientists found a kind of middle ground between the idea of a normal space rock and the more far-out theory of an alien spacecraft, and it's called the dark comet hypothesis. Dr. Daryl Seligman from the University of Chicago, along with his colleagues, actually proposed back in 2019 that Oumuamua belonged to a previously unknown class of objects that behave a lot like comets, but basically remain invisible to us. These so-called dark comets would have just enough ice to create the non-gravitational acceleration we saw, through a process called sublimation, but at levels so low that our instruments just couldn't pick up the outgassing. The theory suggested that Oumuamua was made of materials that had been altered by billions of years of exposure to cosmic radiation out there in interstellar space. This kind of space weathering could create a dark, carbon-rich crust that would hide any ice underneath and make the object look a lot more like an asteroid than a comet. Computer simulations even showed that tiny amounts of sublimating hydrogen gas, basically invisible to most telescopes, could produce exactly the kind of acceleration that was observed. The dark comet model explained Oumuamua's behavior without needing to invoke exotic physics, or, alien intervention. It also suggested that interstellar space might actually be filled with these mysterious objects, failed comets, planetary fragments, or debris from destroyed worlds that have been wandering between the stars for eons. The hypothesis gained even more credibility when astronomers began finding similar objects right here in our own solar system. Small bodies with mysterious accelerations but no visible outgassing. So, Oumuamua might not be unique after all. Maybe it's just the first representative of a hidden population of dark wanderers that populate the galaxy.
Dark comet classification.
The mystery of Oumuamua got even more interesting when astronomers started spotting similar objects basically hiding in plain sight within our own solar system. In 2023, Dr. Daryl Seligman and his team published some pretty groundbreaking research identifying 7 near-Earth objects that showed the same puzzling behavior: non-gravitational acceleration without any visible outgassing. These objects, now officially classified as dark comets, provided the missing link in understanding Oumuamua's true nature. The research published in the journal Icarus actually revealed 2 distinct populations of dark comets in our solar system. Outer dark comets like 2003 RM and 2010 BK118 follow eccentric orbits similar to traditional comets but show no visible activity. Inner dark comets, like 2007 VA85, orbit closer to the Sun and tend to be smaller, which suggests different formation mechanisms or evolutionary histories. This discovery was honestly revolutionary because it meant dark comets weren't just rare interstellar oddities. They were a previously unrecognized population that had been masquerading as asteroids for decades.
The new classification system distinguished them from regular comets and asteroids based on their orbital dynamics and the lack of any detectable coma or tail, despite clear evidence of non-gravitational forces at work. Finding dark comets in our own solar system strongly supported the idea that Oumuamua belonged to this category. It suggested that these kinds of objects might actually be common throughout the galaxy. Invisible wanderers moving between star systems, maybe even carrying ice and organic materials that could seed life on distant worlds. The dark comet classification really transformed Oumuamua from a unique anomaly into the first confirmed member of a whole cosmic population we never even knew existed. Scientific debate. 5 years after Oumuamua's flyby, the scientific community is still, well, fascinatingly divided. And that's actually how science should work. Multiple competing theories keep battling it out in peer-reviewed journals, with each one having some pretty compelling evidence and passionate supporters. The mainstream scientific consensus has gradually shifted toward the dark comet explanation, with researchers like Dr. Jennifer Bergner from the University of California, Berkeley publishing detailed models in 2023, showing how hydrogen outgassing could explain every observed characteristic of Oumuamua. Meanwhile, Dr. Avi Loeb continues to push for the artificial origin hypothesis, launching the Galileo project to search for similar objects and develop new detection methods for potential techno-signatures. Some conservative astronomers prefer explanations involving exotic but natural processes. Maybe Oumuamua was a fragment of a nitrogen iceberg from a Pluto-like world, as Dr. Alan Fitzsimmons proposed back in 2021. The debate has actually produced over 200 scientific papers since 2017, each one adding new pieces to the puzzle. What makes this controversy especially valuable is that it's driving innovation in observational astronomy and interstellar object detection. Projects like the Vera Rubin Observatory, which is set to begin operations in 2024, will discover hundreds of interstellar visitors in the coming decade. The European Space Agency's proposed Comet Interceptor mission could even rendezvous with the next Oumuamua-like object. No matter which theory ends up being correct, Oumuamua has fundamentally changed our perspective on the solar system's place in the galaxy, and reminded us that the universe still holds some pretty profound mysteries waiting to be solved. Alright, that's a wrap on Oumuamua's mind-bending mystery. This interstellar visitor really challenged everything we thought we knew about space objects and honestly left us with more questions than answers. Was it a dark comet, alien technology, or something else entirely? The truth is still out there, just waiting to be discovered. So, what do you think Oumuamua really was? Drop your theories in the comments below. I actually read every single one. And hey, if you're hungry for more cosmic mysteries and space facts that'll totally blow your mind, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell icon so you never miss our latest discoveries. The universe is full of secrets, and we're just getting started uncovering them together here at Space Facts. While NASA and SpaceX dominate today's headlines about Mars exploration, the most daring attempts to reach the Red Planet happened 60 years ago behind the Iron Curtain. The Soviet Union launched secret Mars missions that were so advanced, so ambitious, and so catastrophically dangerous that, honestly, they make Elon Musk's Starship look like a neighborhood science project. These missions literally exploded on launch pads, crashed into alien soil, and vanished into cosmic silence. But they paved the way for everything we know about interplanetary travel today. Did you know the Soviets actually landed on Mars before anyone else, but it was completely by accident? The beginning. While everyone was obsessed with the moon landing in 1969, the Soviet Union was quietly plotting something far more audacious, a mission to Mars that would make Apollo 11 look like a neighborhood joyride. The space race wasn't just about planting flags on lunar soil, it was about who could conquer the ultimate prize, the Red Planet. Behind the Iron Curtain, Soviet engineers were designing spacecraft that could travel 140 million miles through the cosmic void, endure radiation storms, and attempt humanity's first landing on another world. This wasn't science fiction, this was Cold War reality. While Neil Armstrong was taking his famous first steps, Soviet mission planners were already calculating launch windows to Mars, designing heat shields that could survive atmospheric entry at 12,000 miles per hour, and developing communication systems that could beam signals across interplanetary distances. The Soviet space program had already shocked the world with Sputnik in 1957,
and Yuri Gagarin's historic flight in 1961, but their Mars ambitions were on an entirely different scale. These weren't just orbital missions or lunar flybys, they were attempting to land functional spacecraft on a planet where temperatures swing from 70 degrees Fahrenheit to minus 195 degrees Fahrenheit, where dust storms can rage for months, and where one miscalculation means losing everything in the dark expanse of space. What happened next would change everything we thought we knew about the space race, and most of the world never even heard about it.
Mars 1.
A single radio signal from 140 million miles away changed everything, and then went silent forever. On November 1, 1962, the Soviet Union launched Mars 1, an 894-kilogram metallic behemoth packed with cameras, spectrometers, and enough scientific instruments to revolutionize our understanding of the Red Planet. This wasn't just another satellite circling Earth. This was humanity's first serious attempt to reach another world, and the Soviets were betting everything on it. The spacecraft was a marvel of 1960s engineering: solar panels that could function in the weak sunlight beyond Earth's orbit, a communication system designed to transmit data across interplanetary distances, and a heat shield capable of surviving the brutal journey through space. For 106 days, Mars 1 hurtled through the cosmic void, its trajectory perfectly calculated to intercept Mars during its 1963 closest approach to Earth. Soviet engineers monitored every signal, every telemetry reading, as their creation became the first human-made object to venture into deep space with a specific destination in mind. The mission was so classified that even NASA didn't fully understand what the Soviets had achieved until years later. But on March 21, 1963, at a distance of 65.9 million miles from Earth, Mars 1 transmitted its final signal, a weak radio pulse that faded into the cosmic silence. Radio Moscow never officially announced the mission's failure, but behind closed doors, Soviet scientists knew they had lost their first ambassador to Mars somewhere in the vast darkness between worlds, carrying with it humanity's first real dreams of interplanetary exploration.
Mars 2.
Two identical spacecraft sat on launch pads 3,000 miles apart, each carrying humanity's most sophisticated interplanetary technology, and both were about to become monuments to cosmic ambition and earthly miscalculation. The Soviet Union's Mars 1969A and Mars 1969B missions represented the pinnacle of Cold War space engineering, featuring advanced panoramic cameras, soil analysis equipment, and atmospheric sensors that could have rewritten textbooks about planetary science. These weren't simple flyby missions like their predecessor. These bus-sized spacecraft were designed to actually land on Mars and transmit the first close-up images of the Martian surface back to Earth. Soviet engineers had spent 3 years perfecting every component, from the retro rockets that would slow the descent to the shock-absorbing legs, designed to cushion impact on alien soil. The timing was critical. Mars and Earth aligned favorably for interplanetary travel only once every 26 months, and the Soviets knew NASA was preparing their own Mars missions for the same launch window. On March 27, 1969, technicians began the final countdown for Mars 1969A at Baikonur Cosmodrome. The 4-stage Proton K rocket stood 190 feet tall, its liquid oxygen and kerosene fuel tanks pressurized and ready. At exactly 10:40 Moscow time, the engines ignited with a roar that could be heard 20 miles away. For 51 seconds, everything went perfectly. The rocket climbed steadily through Kazakhstan's morning sky. Then, in an instant that would haunt Soviet space officials for decades, the entire assembly disintegrated in a fireball so massive it registered on seismographs across Central Asia.
Mars 1969.
The shockwave shattered windows 15 miles away, and in that single catastrophic moment, the Soviet Union lost not just a spacecraft, but their best chance at beating America to Mars. What should have been the triumphant launch of Mars, 1969A, instead became one of the most spectacular and most covered-up disasters in space exploration history. The Proton K rocket had barely cleared the launch tower when its third stage suffered a catastrophic engine failure, turning 500 tons of rocket fuel into an airborne inferno that painted the Kazakh sky orange for 37 seconds. Soviet officials immediately declared a media blackout. No photographs, no news reports, no acknowledgement that anything had even happened. But you can't hide an explosion visible from orbit.
American spy satellites captured the entire sequence, watching as debris rained down across a 50-square-mile area of the Baikonur Cosmodrome. The blast crater measured 200 feet across and 30 feet deep, and radioactive fuel contaminated the launch pad for months. More devastating than the physical destruction was what burned up in that fireball. 7 years of Soviet Mars program development, millions of rubles in cutting-edge technology, and the careers of dozens of rocket engineers who were quietly reassigned to other projects. The backup mission, Mars 1969B, was indefinitely postponed as investigators sifted through the wreckage, trying to understand how their most reliable rocket had become a 3,000-degree funeral pyre for humanity's Martian dreams. Leonid Brezhnev himself reportedly watched footage of the disaster and declared that Mars missions were too dangerous to continue.
Mars 1971. Against all odds and political pressure, Soviet engineers refused to surrender their Martian dreams. And on May 19, 1971, they launched what would become both their greatest triumph and most heartbreaking near miss in space exploration history. Mars 2 lifted off from Baikonur with the weight of the entire Soviet space program on its shoulders, carrying not just scientific instruments, but the redemption of a nation's cosmic ambitions. This time, everything went flawlessly. The Proton K rocket performed perfectly. The trajectory calculations were precise to within 0.001 degrees, and for 193 days, the spacecraft hurtled through space toward its December rendezvous with the Red Planet. Soviet Mission Control tracked every signal as Mars 2 became the first human-made object to successfully reach Martian orbit and deploy a functional lander. The 1,210-kilogram descent module separated perfectly, its heat shield glowing white-hot as it slammed into the Martian atmosphere at 13,000 miles per hour. But Mars itself had other plans. A planet-wide dust storm, the largest ever recorded, had been raging for months, turning the entire Martian surface into an impenetrable orange hurricane. The lander's parachute system couldn't compensate for the chaotic atmospheric conditions, and instead of the gentle touchdown Soviet scientists had dreamed of, Mars 2 crashed into the Kreis-Planitia region at terminal velocity. In that devastating impact, the Soviet Union achieved a bitter milestone. They had successfully delivered the first human artifact to Mars, but it was now scattered across several square miles of alien terrain, silent forever. Mars earthquakes. The Red Planet is literally shaking itself apart, and the seismic data is so terrifying that NASA scientists are rewriting everything they thought they knew about planetary geology. On May 4, 2022, NASA's InSight lander detected something unprecedented, a magnitude 5.0 Marsquake that lasted over 6 hours and released energy equivalent to 32 billion joules, enough power to supply a small city for an entire day. This wasn't just another minor tremor, it was the most powerful seismic event ever recorded on another planet, and it revealed that Mars is far more geologically active than anyone imagined. InSight's ultra-sensitive seismometer had been listening to the planet's heartbeat for 1,318 Martian days, recording over 1,300 smaller Marsquakes, but this monster event shattered all previous records. The quake originated deep within Mars's interior, possibly from the Cerberus Fossae region, a network of massive fractures that stretch for thousands of miles across the planet's surface. What's truly mind-blowing is that Mars lacks the tectonic plates that cause earthquakes on Earth, meaning these violent tremors are generated by something else entirely. The planet's core is cooling and contracting, causing the entire Martian crust to crack like a drying mud puddle. French seismologist Philippe Lognon described the data as absolutely extraordinary, revealing that Mars experiences daily seismic activity that would terrify geologists if it happened on Earth. These discoveries completely overturn the old assumption that Mars is a geologically dead world, proving instead that it's a dynamic, evolving planet where the ground literally moves beneath your feet. Mars subsurface lakes. Buried beneath a mile of frozen Martian ice lies something that could, well, totally rewrite the search for extraterrestrial life. Liquid water lakes so vast they actually dwarf the Great Lakes, and they've been hiding there for millions of years. In 2018, Italian planetary scientist Roberto Orosai made a discovery that honestly sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Using radar data from the European Space Agency's Mars Express orbiter, his team detected a 12-mile-wide underground lake beneath Mars's south polar ice cap. This wasn't just frozen water or trace moisture. This was actual liquid water, maintained in its fluid state by a combination of geothermal heat from the planet's core and high salt concentrations that act like cosmic antifreeze. The radar penetration revealed what looks like a subglacial lake system, similar to those found beneath Antarctica's ice sheets, where Earth's most extreme organisms thrive in complete darkness. But here's where it gets truly extraordinary. Follow-up studies using Marsyas radar discovered not just one lake, but an entire network of interconnected water bodies spanning hundreds of square miles beneath the Martian polar regions. Orosai's team published their findings in Science magazine, describing radar signatures so clear they're unmistakable. The bright reflections can only come from liquid water interfaces. These subsurface oceans have remained liquid for potentially billions of years, protected from Mars's hostile surface by thick ice and sustained by planetary heat. If life ever existed on Mars, these hidden lakes represent its last refuge, dark, salty sanctuaries where Martian microorganisms might still be thriving right now, completely unaware that curious humans are 140 million miles away, planning missions to drill down and say hello. Mars organic matter. The Martian soil is literally crawling with the building blocks of life, and the evidence is so overwhelming that NASA scientists are frantically recalibrating their entire approach to the search for extraterrestrial organisms. On September 15, 2022, NASA's Perseverance rover made a discovery that sent ripples through the astrobiology community. Organic compounds embedded within Martian rock samples from the Jezero crater, a 28-mile-wide ancient lake bed that once held liquid water for millions of years. These aren't just trace amounts of carbon, we're talking about complex organic molecules including aromatic compounds and aliphatic chains that form the fundamental chemistry of life as we know it. Perseverance's Pixel instrument detected these compounds using X-ray imaging and spectroscopy, revealing organic concentrations 10 times higher than anything previously found on Mars. NASA astrobiologist Amy Williams described the findings as unprecedented, noting that the organic matter is preserved within sedimentary rocks that formed when Jezero crater was a thriving ancient lake ecosystem. What makes this discovery truly extraordinary is the variety and complexity of the organic compounds. They're not random carbon molecules but structured chemicals that could only form under specific environmental conditions. The rover's samples contain nitrogen-bearing organics, sulfur compounds, and hydrocarbon chains that mirror the chemical signatures found in Earth's oldest fossils. Thomas Zurbuchen, NASA's former associate administrator, called it the strongest evidence yet that Mars once supported conditions favorable to life. These organic treasures are now sealed in titanium tubes, waiting for the Mars sample return mission to bring them home for detailed laboratory analysis that could finally answer humanity's ultimate question. MOXIE. Deep in the Martian wilderness, a toaster-sized machine is quietly performing alchemy, converting the alien atmosphere into breathable oxygen, and proving that humans might actually survive on the red planet without suffocating in 96% carbon dioxide. NASA's MOXIE experiment, or Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment, aboard the Perseverance rover, has been working Martian magic since April 20, 2021, splitting CO2 molecules apart and creating pure oxygen at a rate of 5.4 grams per hour, enough to keep an astronaut alive for 10 minutes of normal breathing. This isn't just a cool science demonstration, it's humanity's first successful attempt at living off the land on another planet. The Golden Box uses a process called solid oxide electrolysis, heating Martian air to 1,470 degrees Fahrenheit, and using electrical current to separate oxygen atoms from carbon dioxide molecules. Over 16 successful runs, MOXIE has produced a total of 122 grams of oxygen, more than 4 hours worth of breathable air for a single astronaut. MIT's Michael Hecht, the experiment's principal investigator, described the results as absolutely remarkable, noting that the device has consistently produced high-purity oxygen despite Mars's wildly fluctuating atmospheric conditions and temperature swings of over 170 degrees Fahrenheit. The implications are staggering. A scaled-up version of MOXIE could produce enough oxygen to fuel rocket engines for the return trip to Earth, eliminating the need to transport massive fuel tanks across 140 million miles of space. Mars is literally providing the life support systems that future human colonists will need to survive. NASA SpaceX. The ghosts of Soviet failure are now guiding humanity's greatest space partnership toward Mars, as NASA and SpaceX prepare to land the first humans on the Red Planet, using hard-won lessons written in the wreckage of decades of cosmic disasters. Elon Musk's Starship program isn't just ambitious engineering, it's the direct descendant of every Soviet Mars mission that exploded, crashed, or vanished into the cosmic void. The failures of Mars, 1969A, the heartbreak of Mars 2, and the seismic discoveries of InSight have created a roadmap of exactly what not to do when attempting interplanetary colonization. NASA's Artemis program and SpaceX's Mars architecture incorporate Soviet-era lessons about atmospheric entry, landing systems, and long-duration spaceflight that cost the USSR billions of rubles and countless careers to learn. The partnership officially began with commercial crew missions to the International Space Station, but the real target has always been Mars. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson and Elon Musk have committed to landing astronauts on Mars by the 2030s, using Starship's 100-ton payload capacity to transport everything from habitat modules to MOXIE-derived oxygen production systems. The Raptor engines that will power Starship to Mars burn methane and oxygen, the exact same fuel combination that can be manufactured on the Martian surface using atmospheric processing technology pioneered by failed Soviet experiments. What began as Cold War competition between superpowers has evolved into humanity's unified effort to become a multi-planetary species, built on the foundation of Soviet sacrifices that almost nobody remembers. That's the untold story of humanity's first Mars missions, Soviet secrets that almost changed history. From catastrophic explosions to accidental landings, these declassified missions proved that our journey to the Red Planet started decades before anyone realized. The courage of Soviet engineers and the lessons from their failures are literally powering today's Mars exploration. If this hidden space history blew your mind, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you never miss our cosmic secrets. Comment below. Which Soviet space mission shocked you the most? More space facts coming your way, space explorers. Right now as you're watching this video, there are mysterious worlds spinning in the darkness beyond Pluto that NASA has been quietly discovering. Worlds so bizarre they're rewriting everything we thought we knew about our solar system. These aren't just random chunks of ice floating in space. These are full-blown alien worlds with their own moons, ring systems, and physics-defying properties that would make science fiction writers jealous. But here's the kicker. Some of these discoveries are so recent that most people have never even heard their names. Did you know there's a world out there that spins so fast it literally stretched itself into the shape of a football? The dwarf planet that dethroned Pluto. Did you know there's a world out there so massive it literally kicked Pluto out of the Planet Club? Meet Eris, the cosmic troublemaker that changed everything we thought we knew about our solar system. This icy giant sits way beyond Pluto's orbit, roughly 68 times farther from the Sun than Earth, making it one of the most distant objects we've ever discovered in our neighborhood. What makes Eris absolutely mind-blowing is that it's actually 27% more massive than Pluto, despite being slightly smaller in size. Think of it as the dense, muscular cousin that nobody talks about at family gatherings. When astronomers first spotted this beast in 2005, it sparked the Great Planetary Identity Crisis that ultimately led to Pluto's demotion to dwarf planet status. But here's where it gets really wild. Eris is so far out there that it takes 557 Earth years just to complete one single orbit around our Sun. The surface temperature, a bone-chilling -400 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough to freeze nitrogen solid. Named after the Greek goddess of chaos and discord, Eris lives up to its reputation by having an orbit so elliptical and tilted that it literally dances to its own cosmic rhythm. This frozen world even has its own moon called Dysnomia, named after Eris's daughter who was the goddess of lawlessness. Together, they're like the ultimate rebel duo of our solar system, proving that the most interesting characters always hang out in the shadows. The Easter Island of space. What if I told you there's a world out there named after an Easter Island creation god that's hiding secrets NASA never expected? Welcome to Make, the reddish dwarf planet that's rewriting the rules of what we thought possible in the outer solar system. This bizarre world sits about 45 times farther from the Sun than Earth, cruising through the Kuiper Belt like a cosmic ghost wrapped in mystery.
Here's what makes Makemake absolutely fascinating. Its surface is covered in frozen methane and nitrogen, giving it this eerie reddish-brown color that makes it look like a giant rusty marble floating in space. But the real shocker came when scientists discovered that this supposedly lonely world actually has a tiny dark moon they nicknamed MK2. This little companion is so dark it absorbs almost all light that hits it, making it nearly invisible and explaining why it took astronomers over a decade to spot it after finding Makemake itself. The temperature on this frozen wasteland? A brutal minus 406 degrees Fahrenheit, so cold that even the atmosphere would freeze solid if it had one. What's really mind-bending is that Makemake completes one orbit around our sun every 310 Earth years, meaning since its discovery in 2005, it's barely moved from where we first spotted it. Named after the Polynesian creator deity from Easter Island, this world represents one of the most significant discoveries in our solar system's outer reaches, proving that even in the darkest, coldest corners of space, there are still incredible surprises waiting to be uncovered. The spinning football planet. There's a world spinning so fast in our solar system that it literally stretched itself into the shape of a football, and it comes with its own ring system that shouldn't even exist. Say hello to Oumuamua, the cosmic speed demon that's breaking every rule we thought we knew about how planets behave. This elongated freak of nature rotates once every 4 hours, making it one of the fastest spinning objects in our entire solar system. So fast that centrifugal force has warped it into an egg-like shape that's twice as long as it is wide. Located about 43 times farther from the sun than Earth, Oumuamua is essentially a giant spinning ice ball made mostly of crystalline water ice, reflecting sunlight so brilliantly that it practically glows in the darkness of space. But here's where things get absolutely insane. This spinning football has 2 moons, Hi'iaka and Namaka, named after Hawaiian goddesses, and they're likely chunks that got flung off during some catastrophic collision billions of years ago. The real kicker? In 2017, scientists discovered that Oumuamua has its own ring system, making it the first known ringed object beyond Neptune. These rings are incredibly thin and dark, orbiting around Oumuamua's equator like a cosmic hula hoop. What makes this discovery so shocking is that according to everything we know about physics, rings shouldn't be stable around such a rapidly rotating, oddly shaped object. Yet, there they are, defying our understanding and proving that the outer solar system is full of impossible worlds doing impossible things. The Lonely Wanderer. Ever wonder what happens when a world gets so lonely that it takes 11,400 years just to say hello to the sun once? Meet Sedna, the cosmic hermit that's rewriting everything we thought we knew about the edge of our solar system. This blood-red dwarf planet is currently sitting about 84 times farther from the sun than Earth. But here's the kicker. Yeah, that's actually its close approach. When Sedna reaches its farthest point in its orbit, it ventures out to a mind-boggling 937 astronomical units away, making it so distant that the sun would look like just another bright star in the sky. What makes this world absolutely fascinating is its deep crimson color, caused by organic compounds called tholins that have been baked by cosmic radiation for billions of years. The surface is a frozen wasteland of water ice, methane, and carbon dioxide, with temperatures that never rise above minus 400 degrees Fahrenheit. But here's where Sedna gets really mysterious. Its orbit is so extreme and elongated that something massive must have gravitationally yanked it into this bizarre path billions of years ago. Scientists think it could have been a rogue star that passed through our solar system when the sun was young, or maybe even evidence of the legendary Planet 9 lurking in the outer darkness. Sedna rotates incredibly slowly, taking about 10 hours to complete one spin, and it's completely alone out there with no known moons. This lonely wanderer represents our first glimpse into the inner Oort cloud, that mysterious region where comets are born. The Ancient Surprise. There's a world out there that's completely shattering our understanding of physics by sporting rings that absolutely should not exist. Meet Quaoar, the rebel dwarf planet that's making scientists question everything they thought they knew about how ring systems work. This icy troublemaker sits about 43 times farther from the sun than Earth, cruising through the Kuiper Belt with a secret that wasn't discovered until 2022. Named after the creation deity of the Tongva people of Southern California, Quaoar is roughly half the size of Pluto, but packs enough surprises to keep astronomers scratching their heads for years. Here's what makes this world absolutely mind-blowing. It has a ring system that orbits at a distance where rings simply cannot exist according to our current understanding of celestial mechanics. These rings sit way beyond what's called the Roche limit, the theoretical boundary where a planet's gravity should tear apart any orbiting material and turn it into moons instead. Yet Quaoar's rings are just hanging out there, perfectly stable, basically giving physics the middle finger. The rings themselves are incredibly faint and narrow, made up of tiny particles that somehow resist clumping together into larger objects. What's even more bizarre is that Quaoar has a small moon called Weiwat, named after Quaoar's son in Tongva mythology, which orbits much farther out than the rings. This setup defies everything we know about how ring systems should behave, suggesting there are fundamental forces at work in our solar system that we're only just beginning to understand.
Pluto's anti-twin. What if there's a world out there that's locked in a cosmic dance with Pluto, orbiting in perfect harmony but always staying on the exact opposite side of the solar system? Welcome to Orcus. The anti-Pluto that's proving the universe has a twisted sense of symmetry. This dark, mysterious dwarf planet sits roughly the same distance from the Sun as Pluto, about 39 times farther than Earth, but here's where things get absolutely wild. It's trapped in what scientists call a 1-to-2 orbital resonance with Pluto, meaning for every 2 orbits Pluto makes, Orcus completes exactly 1. But the real kicker is that they're positioned like cosmic opposites, always maintaining maximum separation as they waltz through space together. Named after the Roman god of the underworld and punisher of broken oaths, Orcus is significantly smaller than Pluto but shares some eerily similar characteristics. Its surface is covered in water ice mixed with organic compounds, giving it a grayish appearance that makes it look like Pluto's shadow twin. The most fascinating part? Orcus has its own moon called Vanth, named after an Etruscan demon, and this moon is unusually large compared to its parent, almost like a mini version of the Pluto-Charon system. What makes this relationship so bizarre is that despite being gravitationally linked in this eternal dance, Orcus and Pluto will never get closer than about 18 astronomical units apart. They're like cosmic dance partners who are forever destined to mirror each other's movements while never actually meeting, creating one of the most elegant and mysterious orbital relationships in our entire solar system.
The Chaos Bringer. There's a world tumbling through space so chaotically that scientists can't even figure out which way is up, and it's named after a Chinese water god known for causing floods and chaos. Meet Gong Gong, the cosmic troublemaker that's spinning in such a bizarre way, it's making astronomers question everything they know about planetary rotation. This dark reddish dwarf planet lurks about 67 times farther from the Sun than Earth, taking a whopping 554 years to complete just one orbit around our star. What makes Gong Gong absolutely mind-bending is its rotation. Instead of spinning like a normal planet with a stable axis, it tumbles end over end in a completely unpredictable pattern that changes constantly. Scientists think this chaotic tumbling was caused by a massive collision sometime in its past, possibly the same impact that created its small moon, Xiangliu, named after Gong Gong's 9-headed serpent companion in Chinese mythology. The surface of this world is covered in dark, methane-rich materials that absorb most of the sunlight hitting it, making it one of the reddest objects in the outer solar system. Here's what's really wild. Gong Gong is so massive that it's right on the borderline of being large enough to pull itself into a round shape, but its chaotic rotation and composition keep it slightly elongated. The temperatures on this frozen wasteland never rise above -400 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough to freeze nitrogen solid. This tumbling giant represents one of the most dynamically unstable objects we've discovered in our solar system, proving that even billions of years after formation, some worlds are still dealing with ancient cosmic trauma.
The Slow Giant.
There's a cosmic giant lurking so far out in space that it takes over 1,100 years just to say hello to the Sun once. And, scientists almost missed it completely while hunting for dark energy. Meet 2014 UZ-224, nicknamed DD for Distant Dwarf, the slow-motion behemoth that's redefining what we know about the edge of our solar system. This mysterious world sits approximately 8.5 billion miles away from the Sun right now, making it nearly 3 times farther out than Pluto, and ranking it as the 3rd most distant known object in the Kuiper Belt.
What makes this discovery absolutely incredible is that it was found completely by accident. Astronomers were using the dark energy camera to map distant galaxies when undergraduate students spotted this single moving dot creeping across the cosmic background. The sheer size of this world is mind-blowing, measuring roughly 395 miles across, which makes it about 2/3 the diameter of the dwarf planet Ceres and roughly half the size of Pluto. Here's where things get really wild. 2014 UZ-224 has one of the most extreme orbits ever discovered, swinging as close as 38 astronomical units from the Sun and reaching as far out as 180 astronomical units, creating an incredibly elongated path that takes 1,147 years to complete. The surface of this distant world is incredibly dark, reflecting only 13% of the sunlight that hits it, making it one of the darkest objects in our solar system. What's fascinating is that this world is currently headed inward toward the Sun and won't reach its closest approach until the year 2142. The snowman of space. What if I told you there's a cosmic snowman floating 4 billion miles away that's revealing the deepest secrets of how our entire solar system was born? Meet Arrokoth, the most distant object ever visited by a spacecraft, and the ultimate time capsule that's rewriting everything we thought we knew about planetary formation. This bizarre double-lobed world looks exactly like a flattened snowman, with two rounded sections gently touching each other in what scientists describe as the most gentle cosmic kiss ever recorded. Here's what makes this discovery absolutely mind-blowing. When NASA's New Horizons spacecraft flew by Arrokoth on New Year's Day 2019, it revealed that this ancient relic formed through a process so delicate that its two halves came together at just 7 miles per hour, essentially docking like spacecraft rather than smashing together violently. The surface of this primordial world is incredibly red, even redder than Pluto, and recent analysis has revealed something that could change our understanding of life's origins. It contains sugars like ribose and glucose, the fundamental building blocks of life itself. What's truly fascinating is that Arrokoth has remained virtually unchanged for 4.5 billion years, preserved in the deep freeze of the Kuiper Belt like a cosmic fossil. Scientists believe this snowman-shaped world formed when a localized cloud of primordial material gently collapsed and fused together, proving that planet formation can happen through surprisingly gentle processes rather than violent collisions. This discovery is revolutionizing our understanding of how planets form and suggesting that the building blocks of life might be far more common in the universe than we ever imagined. The Phantom World. What if there's an invisible giant lurking in the darkest corners of our solar system? A phantom world so massive it's secretly controlling the orbits of distant objects like a cosmic puppet master. Meet Planet 9, the theoretical super-Earth that could be the most significant discovery in astronomy since Neptune was found over 150 years ago. This mysterious world is believed to be roughly 10 times more massive than Earth, and orbits somewhere between 400 to 800 times farther from the Sun than our planet, making it so distant that it would take between 10,000 to 20,000 years just to complete one orbit around our star. Here's what makes this discovery absolutely mind-blowing. Scientists haven't actually seen Planet 9 yet, but they know it's there because of the gravitational fingerprints it's leaving behind. 6 distant objects in the Kuiper Belt all have their orbits mysteriously aligned in the same direction and tilted at the same 30-degree angle, something that would be virtually impossible without a massive planet shepherding them from the shadows. Computer simulations show that Planet 9's gravity is so powerful it could have tilted our entire solar system by 6 degrees over the past 4.5 billion years, finally solving a mystery that has puzzled astronomers for decades. Recent studies suggest there's at least a 40% chance this phantom planet actually exists, and it might be the core of a giant planet that was violently ejected by Jupiter during the chaotic early days of our solar system. With surface temperatures around minus 375 degrees Fahrenheit and a diameter 7.5 times larger than Earth, Planet 9 represents the ultimate cosmic hide-and-seek champion. So there you have it. 10 absolutely mind-blowing worlds that prove our solar system is way stranger than we ever imagined. From spinning footballs to phantom planets, these discoveries are just the beginning of what's waiting out there in the cosmic darkness. If these bizarre worlds blew your mind as much as they did mine, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell icon so you never miss our latest space discoveries. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these worlds surprised you the most. Was it the tumbling chaos of Gong Gong or the invisible giant Planet 9? Thanks for joining me on this cosmic journey, and I'll see you in the next Space Facts adventure.